Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Legends of Runeterra deck showcase. At the time of making this video, firstly, the coronavirus is destroying the world, but more importantly than that, there's a problem in Legends of Runeterra, where mid-range and aggro decks have taken over the game. If you play in Diamond or on the Master Tier ladder, then pretty much all the decks you're facing are, sometimes you'll be fun, or you'll get a fun matchup where your opponent's playing a control deck and there's going to be some strategy, but like 75% of the matches you play are up against either mid-range or aggro decks that don't really have a lot of strategy involved with them. You'll see elusive mid-range decks a lot. You'll see Hecarim, Rally, Mistwraith decks a lot. You will see the Garen elite deck, or sometimes it's a Fiora elite deck, Fiora Barrier, Challenger elite deck. Like, there's a lot of different mid-range decks that are all based around, you know, flooding the board and then winning the game before your opponent can really do anything creative. And most of the people that you know are high rated right now are just kind of running these decks for the sake of climbing. Today, we're going to try and do something a little bit more creative and a little bit more fun, and that is play an Ashe control deck. So this is a control deck that's kind of interesting because most of the control decks you see right now are focused around Karma. We've talked about in the past how Karma is such a good card, and if you run a Karma Shadow Isles control deck in particular, that's typically very effective because you have a lot of board removal with stuff like Vengeance, with stuff like the Ruination, which these are cards that will kill off opponents' units. You know, it's not even deal damage to them, it will just straight up kill them off, and that's pretty useful. It's cool when you see stuff like that. Those kinds of decks obviously have quite a bit of prowess and quite a bit of popularity. I feel like those are, you know, it's almost boring. Those are the two most popular regions, Ionia and Shadow Isles. Those are the most popular regions that people run in decks. So I like this deck here because it's a little bit more odd and it runs some odd cards. So this is I'll be fair, it's not that creative. It's still a Rekindler Shadow Isles deck where you run Rekindler. We've talked about this card a lot in the past. It's a card where it's a 6-drop 4/4 where when he is summoned, he will revive the strongest allied champion. This card is very strong right now because it ostensibly allows you to break the hard limit on a card, or like on champions this game. You get to have more than 3 copies of a champion in your deck. You effectively get to have 6 copies of a champion in your deck. But rather than using this guy comboed with something like Hecarim or Darius or Karma, we're comboing him with Ashe. So Ashe is a really interesting champion in this game. Every time she attacks, she will frostbite the strongest enemy, but more importantly than that, when she levels up, she still does that thing where she frostbites the strongest enemy, but enemies with 0 power can't block. So what you're trying to do here with this control deck is you have a couple of different win conditions. Again, you still abuse the Shadow Isles region and you have a win condition like the Harrowing, which if you get a Harrowing off and your opponent doesn't have anything to block the 6 units that you summon, then there's no possible way your opponent's going to be able to deal with this unless they have a Ruination or something. But not only do you have this cool, like, you know, obvious win condition, but you have an interesting win condition where you can get an Ashe out and then you can do stuff like Harsh Winds, you can do stuff like Brittle Steel, you can combo Rekindler with an Ashe to get multiple Ashes on the field to frostbite enemies, and then once she's leveled up, sometimes you can just attack, and even if your opponent has a pretty scary board, everyone's going to be frostbitten anyway, and it doesn't matter. You're going to be fine. You're going to be able to still win the game because your opponent can't block. They physically won't be able to block and deal with your units. This is an interesting deck, and it runs some cool cards that I haven't seen run before, like this card, Ethereal Remitter, which this guy will kill an ally to summon a random follower from any region that costs 2 more. That's a very interesting card that has some fun RNG play with it that I'm excited to see if we can get him off on something like Frenzied Skitterer. There's some typical cards in this deck. I think you guys probably know all these cards by now. All the Shadow Isles cards like Pot of Greed that are really good, but you know, you still have some of the Evorzean Sentries, you have Brittle Steel, you have Rimfang Wolf, which are all very interesting, and I'm excited to see if we can make this deck work today, maybe punish some of those mid-range decks that you see on ladder for being dirty mid-range players. So let's go ahead, cut the intro, and get straight into game number 1. Oh boy, and for our first game of the day, we are up against our old nemesis, Liquid Hyped. Okay, so he's playing the boring Garen Fiora mid-range deck, and we're going to have... Well, because he is playing mid-range, he might not be super aggro. I would kind of like to keep this Harsh Winds because I feel like that's one of the better cards in this deck. This is a very greedy mulligan for me to not get rid of anything, or for me to not actually do a mulligan. This is a very greedy play, and it's probably not smart that I'm doing this against a pro player, but I feel like this kind of showcases the potential of the deck. You know, getting the potential early cards out, the early units to be able to trade into various different things, and then getting an Ashe out who he then has to pay attention to, focus, potentially go for a kill on, and then whenever he does eventually kill her, using the Rekindler to bring her right back when she's hopefully at that point leveled up. I feel like that's a good example of like what we're trying to go for here. This might actually be a mistake because using the Harsh Winds to be defensive early on might not be the smartest thing, but I think it does have a lot of potential, because like sometimes you want to use the Harsh Winds when Ashe is leveled up, and then you can use it on two guys to prevent them from blocking and try and win the game that way. But yeah, I mean, okay, well there's a second one. That's nice. Here he will play something, and we will Frenzied Skitterer, which is nice. Prevent him from doing any sort of attacking play. And then yeah, here on turn 4, I'm gonna put Ashe down and go for it. Because right now he should not have an easy trade. He could have the barrier, give a barrier and +3 power, and he could use that on this guy to kill off my Ashe. But if he puts down something that has more power, then, well, maybe we should just not attack. Keep Ashe alive. This guy probably had... I swear he does this every time. Okay, so... yeah, I should probably just chill. I'm going to attack with the Evorzean Sentry, though, because I would kind of like to just get some draw. It might be silly to do this because he could, or I could save the Evorzean Sentry for later on, where he could give us a nicer, you know, trade. Okay, so Hyped is going to take his time. He's going to think about it for a while and then go for that trade. It's a shame we don't have one more mana. That Black Spear is a little unfortunate. But right here, we have a solid setup, because if he attacks, we can block with both of our guys and use Harsh Winds on these two units. Now, the problem is he probably has buffs in hand, and he has a lot of mana. So if he just attacks right away, we're not really in the best of positions. We could go for the 50-50 Mist's Call. We could just take the trade straight up and then go for the 50-50 Mist's Call to try and bring back Ashe. And then we could Rekindler next turn either way. No matter what. Actually, you know what? Let's do that, because that would also allow us to Black Spear too if he has... yeah, I like that. Okay, so he's giving us a lot of time to think because he's taking forever, as he always does. And that's fine. That's fine. No judgment. No judgment. I don't hate people who do this. Okay, so he did take away enough mana with that drop that now he cannot do the thing that buffs his guys. He can do the thing that is dumb, but he can't do the thing that buffs his guys. That's the nice thing. Or he can do the barrier. He has the 3 mana for the barrier that will save his guy from dying, but... oh, so he just passes. Interesting. All right, so here I drew a Rimfang Wolf, and I'm going to play my Rimfang Wolf. We can see that Ashe will Frostbite him, so we can attack with Ashe and then use the Rimfang Wolf there. And then if he kills off Ashe, we can use Mist's Call to resummon her. I think that's probably the play we want to make this turn. Another thing we could do is just attack with everybody, and then Ashe will Frostbite one, use the Harsh Winds on the other. Oh. So hang on. Ashe is going to Frostbite Garen, right? So let's do this and then see what he does. Because now we can use... wow, that was a very... he must have something. He must have something. There's very little chance he doesn't have something here, right? That won't buff Garen because he's only when he's attacking. Supporting allies only works when you're attacking, right? So Garen's going to die here if he doesn't. Ooh, okay, well, I could just let this go off. And part of me is tempted to, because Garen will die. Ashe will die. I'll bring my Ashe back with Rekindler. He'll probably bring his Garen back with Rekindler. But it will also kill off the War Chefs. I'm worried that if I Harsh Winds, he's going to do the thing that gives an ally barrier and +3 attack. He'll use that on him, so he'll live and still kill off my Ashe. But then again, I'm going pretty mana inefficient here. Although I could use a Black Spear to finish him off. And we could still... oh no, we could just use Mist's Call. I forgot. Yeah, we can just do Mist's Call. I said that earlier too, didn't I? I said that and I just didn't even think about actually doing it. Okay, and then this is nice because now we can start getting multiple Ashes out. Perfect. So Ashe right now is at 1 out of 5. We will go ahead and use this as well. And we do keep the 2 Harsh Winds. We're starting to build up a pretty crazy board. He has to start doing something here, I think. The deck that he's playing is pretty based around getting a strong board that is sticky and difficult to remove. But we have a lot of things that are, I mean, pretty easy for us to use as removal options. We have Black Spears we can use to, you know, kill off things that are low health when our guys have died. Oh, and he uses a prismatic barrier to save him. Wow. That did not seem like an efficient play. That must mean that he's pretty weak right now, right? I mean, that must mean he is kind of starved for having anything. Here I'm just going to pass. I don't mind being mana inefficient here, because if he goes and yeah, I assume he's going to do that. And then when he pulls things, I want to frostbite them. Yeah, because he'll pull the Ash and the Rimfang Wolf. I want to frostbite both of those guys. And I'll probably use him on there. Keep the Ash alive, keep the Rimfang Wolf alive, especially because we want to be able to use Ash to kill off the Garen along with him next turn again. And he should not have much to be able to stop this. I will put out the Frenzied Skitterer because they are not really important at this point, and we're getting late enough into a game, or into the game, where we can now kind of think about saying, hey, I want to win the game with Harrowing, and we don't even care if we have many units out, because it's the Harrowing, you know? I won't use Black Spear, I will save up the mana, and we will see what he does here. Now, we're gonna use this. So we may as well do this. I mean, this is such a great combo. Using a Rimfang Wolf on him. And then again, I kind of think I just want to let this happen because I can resummon Ash. Yeah, let's do it. He already used one Rekindler. What would be bad is if he had Mist's Call and it resummoned the Rekindler who resummoned the Garen. Because he already used one of his Rekindlers and he already used one of his Garens. So we're ahead of him because right now we've just used one of our Ashes and one of our Mist's Calls. We still have 2 Rekindlers in hand. We also have a Harrowing that can win the game for us like next attack turn if he still doesn't have anything on board. And we have a few different ways to get Harsh Winds out to mess up enemies. So here I'm just going to Rekindler. Ooh, I want to use that on him. I'll use this on him. And then I'll be prepared to use Brittle Steel on the Fleet Feather Tracker. This is good. This is going very well for us. We are running out of cards here at this point, and that is a bit of a fear of mine. But, I mean, look at this. What's he going to do? Attack this turn? Okay, so if he attacks, we block the Garen with the Rimfang, or with the Ash. Okay, so if he does that, I think... What do we want? We want a second Rimfang Wolf, because we'll use the 2 Harsh Winds on the 2 Garens. He'll pull one of the Rimfang Wolves there. Oh, this is beautiful! This is beautiful! So we use the Ash here, we use that there, we use that there, we use that there, and then we use that there. Oh my goodness, we just used that there so well. Look at this, look at this. So the Ash goes off, she levels up. And then we do this, and we do this, and we keep everything alive. And he surrenders! Oh boy, we get revenge on our nemesis for game number 1 today. Good game, well played. Oh, that victory tastes so sweet. Let's go to game number 2. All right, and here we go. Game number 2. We are once again, surprise, surprise, up against a Garen mid-range. You know, I mean, I talked about that a couple days ago as being an underrated deck, but I don't even know if I can... That video is probably clickbait. It's not underrated. Everybody's playing variations of this annoying garbage. I'm getting so sick of seeing it myself, but... Here we go. Hopefully we'll be able to still beat this guy up. And you know, last game it was kind of memey because it's like, hey, haha, we beat a pro player that we had a frustrating experience with a couple times before on the ladder. So that feels pretty good. But this is actually, I think, a very good deck to deal with these kinds of Garen mid-range things, you know? Not only because you have options like Frostbite to deal with stuff like Lucian, which maybe I shouldn't have even done that. He could have attacked and I could have used Brittle Steel and then killed him. But yeah, not only do you have options like that are really fun and satisfying to pull off, you also have a lot of really good and cool plays that you can make that just work out very well. You know, I feel like this deck that we're showcasing today it's like an anti-meta deck. It's a very good deck to beat meta things, in my opinion. And I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, because this guy, he's running a rally deck that's focused around Garen and Lucian and doing the Lucian combo to get him double attack, and you can see how that's not going to work at all. Lucian gets his level up, but we are going to Frostbite him. So even when he attacks, we can still trade and kill him. And even if he does something to beat that, we have Rimfang Wolf and Frenzied Skitterer and stuff like that to deal with him as well. First, I think I'm going to just straight up do a Frenzied Skitterer here. and see what he does in response. All right, fair enough, fair enough. I think I'll just pass.
Words move hearts and armies.
Yeah, again, we just pass. This is getting scary, though. He's actually getting a pretty worrisome board. Huh. That's odd.
As Demacia wills it. This is mercy.
He's ready. Dang it, he is ready. All right. So we have to keep Ash alive. And then I guess we'll keep the Frenzied Skitterer alive. I forgot about that card. You know, to be fair, Frostbooty Aurelia, this player here that we're playing against, I gotta give credit where credit is due. He's actually playing a much more exciting and fun deck compared to, you know, what we... Like, there's a very typical and obvious deck here that you can play when it comes to using these, you know, these cards. But he is playing a very fun version of Garen Lucian. It runs weird stuff like Dawn Seekers and the Undying. All right, well, I don't have anything now.
I'll lead us to victory.
It is obvious and clear what I am doing. I'm not saving any mana here. I gotta make my moves, dude. If he has a 1 mana thing or a 3 mana thing that can kill off my Ash or stop me, I don't know what that is, but we'll see it here. The nice thing, oh, he surrenders. He does not have anything that can stop us. Good game, well played. Okay, let's move into game number 3 and see if we can actually play against a different deck. Well, for our third game of the day, we are up against, once again, another mid-range that once again seems to be abusing the rally mechanic, and that's kind of boring and not super fun. I'm actually going to keep the Glimpse Beyond here. Let's go ahead and keep it. I mean, Pot of Greed is just too good of a card. And we have some nice early game cards here. Hopefully we'll be able to deal with anything crazy that he throws at us. The nice thing about this Frostbite deck, though, against these mid-ranges that you see so often on ladder, is that so many of them aren't prepared for not being able to strike, you know? Like, oftentimes when you see the elusive mid-range deck, what you see is like a, you know, the +2 health, the 1 mana give a unit +2 health card, or you see like something along those lines where the idea is, hey, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be, yeah, we'll use Pot of Greed here. The idea is that you're saying, okay, I'm gonna go and I won't have board removal, I won't have a way to deal with much, I'm just gonna be putting minions out, but the minions are gonna be so difficult to kill with spells that there won't be a Heimerdinger or an Ezreal deck or something like that that will ever beat me. That's kind of the idea that you have when playing those kinds of decks, right? Oh, I could Black Spear him, right? Haha! Surrender. Surrender right now. Do it. Yeah, but anyway, point being, a lot of decks are not prepared for what we throw out. Most decks are not at all prepared for seeing harsh winds, you know? Like a Zed, when someone puts a Zed out on their attack turn, they're thinking, even if you try and block him with something that has 5 health, I'm going to use this Zed, and I'm going to kill that guy with 5 health, because I have a dual thing that's going to give him +3 attack, and then his quick attack will go off and kill him. They aren't prepared for Frostbite, though. That's the cool thing. But anyway, enough talk. Let's go ahead, and that is okay. I will let him hit face, and I will go ahead and put another one down. That will fill up my spell mana. Next turn, we'll use the Iceville Archer, and we'll pull him with one of these guys. I definitely would recommend this deck. I mean, sometimes I do videos on decks that are a little bit goofy or a little bit silly, and they can still be fun and they can still work, and, you know, sometimes they can do very well. But I would say this is a deck that is one of the better decks out there that I've been messing around with recently, and one of the better decks out there that, again, people just aren't prepared to deal with. People don't know how to beat it. So here we will go ahead and do this, and that's unfortunate. It looks bad, but I'm doing it. He has put so much on this guy that I feel like it's worth it. Does he have a third? You gotta be kidding me. All right, all right. Fair enough. I mean, he made him an 8/8. Using a 6-mana spell to kill an 8/8 elusive is, I mean, that's got to be worth it most times.
I walk your path alone.
That feels so bad, though. I'm not going to lie. That feels really bad. Okay, well, let's go ahead and use Harsh Winds. Hopefully kill off this Zed here. Maybe I shouldn't have used Harsh Winds. I'm worried about how low I'm getting. Now I don't have a way to kill him, though. All right. Well, we need to start drawing something. We need to draw Ashe right here. You know what? Let's believe in the heart of the cards right now. Right here, right now. I believe in the heart of the cards, and I'm going to draw Ashe now. Straight up.
With me.
I am so good at this game. It's actually insane how good I am at this video game. It's incredible.
Show me it.
So now Ashe is going to Frostbite her with the attack, so we can now use the Rimfang Wolf to kill her.
Those at the ready.
We will also put him out
Avarosa, guide me.
because whoever he tries to block Ashe with will be able to use a burst spell of this thing. Brittle Steel. The nice thing about this is he has to buff the thing first.
To be a challenge.
Like, I can't use this and then he can't try and buff it, giving it health. Yeah, he can't try and buff it to give it health to prevent me from using this because this is a burst spell. So even though Fiora was about to set up for an amazing board clear, instead, everything he has and everything he loves dies. And we set up to have a fantastic board. Now, he is still elusive. I mean, he certainly could still have some very annoying and very frustrating things, but I think we're fine. I'm going to use the Chronicler of Ruin here on Ashe. That's another reason this is run in this deck, because now the Rekindler works, and he knows the game is over. Good game. Well played. Wow, those were some really fun games today. I had a lot of fun here. Now, I am obviously a big dumb YouTuber, which means I have to clickbait my videos to make money. I need to put stuff like, whoa, this deck is so OP, and so you might have seen myself and probably plenty of other YouTubers as well talking about decks that, whoa, you gotta play this, dude, it's so good. But that being said, I feel like this deck is actually so good that you should absolutely play it. You should probably have the cards for this if you're, if you're trying to keep up and make sure you own all the meta cards like the Harrowing and Rekindler, then there's not a lot in this deck that you probably don't already own. But it's just a very fun way to mess around with some of the broken mechanics in this game that will probably be nerfed sometime, maybe the next patch, stuff like Rekindler, but while they're not nerfed, may as well take advantage of them, right? Anyway, though, I hope you guys all enjoyed watching today's video. I will be back once again tomorrow, and I will see you in our next deck showcase. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Good luck in solo queue, and have a wonderful day.